Hi guys, I'm Rob McCallum and we're talking Disney Ultimates on this episode of Action Figure Wishlist. 2020, Super 7 and Disney announced a partnership that would see Super 7 release action figures based on classic Disney characters done in their Ultimate style, with Wave 1 including Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, Pinocchio, who came with Cleo Figaro, and what's that other one? Jiminy Cricket, and of course Prince John with his lovable, hysterical sidekick, Sir Hiss. But it doesn't end there. Since then, Wave 2 and Wave 3 was announced. The next wave saw Robin Hood, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, and Hyacinth the Hippo from Fantasia. Wave 3 was also recently announced with Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, the Queen and King of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, and of course, who could forget the Big Bad Wolf from Silly Symphonies? I had gone from rule of two all in to really pick and choose. Now, the Big Bad Wolf sure is an iconic character in the Disney stable of villains, I suppose. And Alice in Wonderland, as treasured as that film might be to some people, is really near the bottom of my list of favorite Disney features out there. So I really don't need a third and fourth figure from that lineup. I just don't need it, especially when we've only got like 12 figures or so kind of released. A little overkill for me. And I love Stitch, but I can't really justify the $55 US price point, let alone shipping and duty to Canada. At least pair it with Lilo to make it feel a little bit better. So this is why we're here today. It's time to go down the action figure wish list for Disney Ultimates. Now, to figure out what we want, we have to figure out what Super 7's strategy might be for the entire line from beginning to end, what rules Disney may have set out for Super 7 to play by, and how many figures we actually might get. I'm gonna also make a few assumptions here. The first one being, I don't think Disney is going to let Super 7 make any of their princesses. The Disney Princess line is a huge cash generator. It was recently taken over by Mattel after being at Hasbro for a while, and I don't think they want to cross-pollinate or potentially steal some of that brand power. Assumption number two is I'm going to suggest that this whole line is going to run maybe 40 figures. That would give us 10 waves of figures at about 4 figures each. Now, some might be 3 figures, some might be 5 figures per wave, but I think overall probably 40 figures is what we're gonna get released. And that's based on kind of the average life expectancy of a collector line of this nature so far. I hope it goes more, but let's just think 40 key figures that we could get, or maybe even just 40 additional characters to the ones that we've already had announced. The last assumption I'm going to make is that 99% of the figures that'll be released will come from films that came out before the year 2000. Yes, I know Lilo and Stitch and the Stitch figure, which was just announced, came from 2002. I think that's an outlier. I think all the other figures are gonna come from before the year 2000. I just think the heavy hitters all come from before the year 2000. Also, I think I'm going to target just the Disney theatrical animated films. Now, Disney has other films, of course, that they've released that are live action that are hugely popular, stuff like Mary Poppins or Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And of course, they've acquired other animated companies like Pixar. And yes, we could go down the whole Pixar rabbit hole and come up with tons of figures over there, but let's just focus on Disney animated features. And that gives us over 60 to choose from. Now again, 60 animated films, even if we were just to limit it to 3 characters from each film, that would give us 180 characters. See how I did that quick math? And we're talking maybe only 40 new additional characters, plus the ones they've already announced. So unfortunately, some films are not going to make the cut here. I am sorry if your favorite film gets left out. I am not ruining your childhood. I'm just telling you what my fan inside me, in my heart, which is always right because I'm a toy collector, wants the most. Let's not forget, I'm leaving out all of the Disney afternoon stuff and the direct-to-video stuff too, like DuckTales, Treasure of the Lost Lamp, which I'm not happy about, but I've got to do it. So with so many films to choose from and so many potential characters, what's the strategy here? What's the theme? Well, it's pretty easy, I think, and you're probably on the same page as me, otherwise you wouldn't be watching the video to this point. You know what I'm gonna say, so you say it first. Ready? We'll do it at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Heroes and villains, or villains and heroes. I think you could do the entire line just on villains. But you know, if you're an action figure dolly collector like me, you like to have the good guy next to the bad guy on the shelf. And maybe you play a little bit at night, maybe you don't, but it's still a nice dichotomy. The good side, the dark side, whatever you want. Works in Disney films too there, folks. So let's take a look at the list. We'll start with the heroes. Now these are in no particular order whatsoever, so bear with me. This is going to be a shotgun approach to what I think the best Disney Ultimate heroes could be, or hero characters could be, to make it into action figure form for yourself. First up, Dumbo. Now Dumbo is an iconic character. He's the main protagonist from one of Walt Disney's first 5 films. Those first 5 films are kind of like untouchable, not only in terms of film history, but for animation lovers out there and any Disney aficionado. Dumbo could be an oversized figure. He makes so much sense to have as a character, and you don't need any other figures from Dumbo. You really don't. But Dumbo on his own is perfect. Next up, again, we can't do princesses, but I thought, who could we pick from Cinderella? Well, the mice would be cool, but I think we get into that scale issue again. So what about Cinderella's fairy godmother? Again, iconic character. She's the one that kind of saves the day and helps Cinderella out of the jam. And I just think the sculpt that you could get on this character, with maybe a few accessories, maybe she comes with the mice as well, or maybe a pumpkin as well. It's bibbidi bobbidi awesome. Now, maybe not high on my list in terms of Disney animated features, and maybe, again, I'm guilty of doing the 2-pack thing, but I think you could have Lady and the Tramp for all you spaghetti-eating, pasta-loving fiends out there. Again, 2 classic characters. Disney does animals looking so well and very human-like, and I think that translates incredibly well to the action figure form. Now here's one that makes a whole lot of sense, ladies and gentlemen. Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty. He's a knight, he battles a dragon, he's got a cool sword, an even cooler shield, he's got a great hat and a cloak. Do you do that soft goods? Do you do it plastic? Could just be really cool on its own. Prince Philip, I don't think has ever got any kind of cool action figure treatment. And you get that Sleeping Beauty crowd as well. So Prince Philip is a huge win here. Now for this next one, we've already talked about Lady and the Tramp, but I think we could do Pongo and Purdy as well. And that's, of course, the 2 main doggies, the Dalmatians, from 101 Dalmatians. And maybe you include maybe not 100 Dalmatians as the pack-in. Maybe a few of the other smaller little pups in there as well. Disney fans love this movie. I love it a lot more nowadays than I ever did. It's classic. It's right up there. Okay, maybe the best idea for figures for the Disney Ultimate lines comes right here. I think you need Merlin with Archimedes. That's 1 pack. And at the same time, Wart. Both Sword in the Stone figures. Maybe overkill, maybe not. Definitely not. Possibly my favorite Disney animated feature, Sword in the Stone. So we gotta have Merlin and Wart. You gotta have Wart. Maybe you give him the crown. Of course, the sword in the stone, that's maybe removable with the little engraving on the sword as well. These are must-haves. I really hope you're listening, Super 7. Almost as iconic as the Sword in the Stone, we've gotta talk about the Jungle Book. And when it comes to hero characters, everybody loves that Jungle Bum Baloo. But why not release Mowgli as well? Now you could pack them together or separate them and have some of the smaller characters come with them as well. Either way, Mowgli and Baloo, staples and the heroes of Disney animated films. You gotta have them. I'm talking Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin. I've never seen a Christopher Robin doll or action figure or anything like that. And if I'm gonna have Winnie the Pooh, as much as I would love to have Piglet and Tigger and Rabbit and Eeyore and Owl and anyone else from the 100 Acre Wood, Kanga and Roo, looking at you, or a Heffalump or a Woozle. Oh, those would be awesome. I would love to see Pooh Bear and Christopher Robin, maybe with a red balloon as well. I think that would be pretty cool. Okay, we got some big hitters coming up. Let's kind of go shotgun order. First, we got to get the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. I can't imagine anybody doing a better job on a cool, maybe oversized Beast figure than the 4 Horsemen teaming up with Super 7. And as much as I kind of want Aladdin and maybe swappable clothes to his Prince Ali outfit and maybe with a pack-in Abu, I want to see the Genie. Again, these larger than life, colorful characters I want to see. And another hero-like character that we should really get in our set of dollies for our shelves of the Disney Ultimate lines, Hercules. Yes! Please give me a Hercules figure. Question is, do I want the scrawny teen who doesn't know how to be a hero, or the bigger kind of buff, flirted figure of Hercules? Again, the next 3 are gonna be rapid fire. I wanna see Tarzan, because that movie is awesome, and maybe it's the Phil Collins soundtrack really pulling at my heartstrings. I wanna see a Kuzco llama. Thank you, David Spade. And you know what? I'm gonna break my rule for you too. I'm gonna suggest a figure after the year 2000 from a film that came out after the year 2000, and that's Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph. Now I've got your attention, and yes, I think you can grant me the leeway to break my own rule. The last hero I want to suggest to Super 7 for the inclusion of the Disney Ultimates is going to break another rule of mine, and that's the Disney Princess rule. But wait, I'm not actually breaking that rule, or am I? I'm very confused. And that's to suggest the character of Mulan. Now, Mulan is technically not a princess. She was neither born to a king and queen, nor did she marry a prince to become a princess, but she's often lumped into that princess crowd. To get a Mulan figure, especially with the recent release of the live action movie, to get an animated figure of Mulan, I think would just be awesome. Of course, you got to pack in Mushu. So that'll do it for Heroes, and I'm glad we got that out of the way. Let's get to the characters that we all want to see in action figure form for the Disney Ultimates lineup, and I'm talking about the villains. My love for Disney villains knows no bounds, my friends out there, and I want to start high on the list, and that's with Cruella Deville. I love the look of the character. There's something very Skeletor-esque about her. I love the contrast in her outfits, the black and the white with the highlights of the red. I love the cigarette holder. I love everything about this character. We've talked about the heroes from Aladdin maybe making an appearance, but we also got to have Jafar, and we got to have Iago. The question is, do we get costume swaps for Sorcerer Jafar or Sultan Jafar or just regular Jafar? Now, when we're talking about crazy personalities and cartoony expressions, the first Disney villain that comes to mind is Captain Hook. And if we're going to talk Captain Hook, another entry we have to talk about is Shmi, and maybe Shmi can be bundled with the crocodile. But Captain Hook definitely has to be there, even if you don't want those other two options. Captain Hook is a must. Now, the next two entries come from Pinocchio. One of them would be Stromboli, the big Stromboli puppeteer guy who gets Pinocchio to perform I've Got No Strings on Me. And as cool as I think that character would be to see, I think seeing Honest John might be a little bit more iconic. And I think it would translate better to an action figure as well. So my vote is for Honest John, but Stromboli would be a great figure as well. So let's talk Snow White. We can't do princesses, but can we do queens? Because I think the evil queen from Snow White definitely deserves to be an action figure. Maybe as the old hag and not the queen. Maybe that's one way to get around it, Super 7. But one of the iterations or both, you got to have them. If we have Prince Philip, we talk about how awesome he is about fighting a dragon, then we need the dragon herself, and that of course is Maleficent. My goodness, would this be a gorgeous figure to sit on your shelf right next to Cruella and the other Disney villains? You need to have Maleficent. Now let's do a triple threat here. These are three separate options. I think you need to see Ursula from The Little Mermaid. That would be a gorgeous figure. I think you need to see Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective, and of course, Hades from Hercules. All of these are striking characters. They're just so well designed in an animated form that they would just translate incredibly well. And they all got kind of minions that you can include as pack-in characters as well. Now, the last villains I want to mention are probably my two must-haves, and I will buy 3 copies of each of them if you do this for me, Super 7. And that, of course, is Madame Mim from The Sword and the Stone and Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. These are two of maybe the most villainous characters that Disney has ever created. Treacherous in every way, out for blood, out to win no matter what. It's all about competition and beating the other person at their game. These two are must-have, and I want to see the Horsemen take it on and deliver excellent figures, and for me to own, like I said, multiple copies, my promise to you. So that's my wish list for the Disney Ultimates lineup from Super 7. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Of course, hit like and subscribe so you can hear more of my action figure wish list coming out in the future. If you think that I made a mistake, let me know. If you have a better suggestion, let me know. I want to hear. I'll probably agree with you. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to bring you another action figure wish list. I'm Rob McCallum. Until next time.